You're watching Business Connections Live. Great to have you with us today. My guest on today's show is Rupert. He's the Managing Director of Integrated Marketing Bureau. We're talking about how to maximise your return and investment when it comes to using LinkedIn to grow your business. Rupert, we were just looking at the search criteria on your screen. Let's go back to your screen. Just talk us through the other elements that we can actually get down, because it is very, very targeted. So let's have a look at your screen right now.
Yeah, great. So just a little bit earlier on, what we were doing is we were searching for businesses in the computer and networking security space. We also decided we wanted to reach people at director, owner, partner, and CXO level, and also vice president level. And we select these options here. All these options which are coloured gold are premium options. So as a free member, you can gain access to these parts. As a premium member, you get this extra functionality, which is very useful.
Is it worth being a premium member? Because it's only about, between 45 and 50 quid a year, a month?
Yeah, to be frank, anyone who's serious about business shouldn't even question the cost. It's probably about the best investment you can make.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not employed by LinkedIn, by the way, but it's true.
I was going to say, if anybody from LinkedIn is watching, thank you very much. We are available to have the program sponsored. Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right then. So we've got that. We've got that search parameter where we can really niche down. Where do we need to look? What do we need to look at next?
Okay. The other thing is to determine what type of size of companies you want to try and reach, because LinkedIn is such a large business social network. There's no way you can reach everyone. It's just not possible to do it, and obviously LinkedIn won't want you doing that either. And not through this, but this is a much more targeted way of doing it. So, for example, let's say you were after companies which employed more than 50 people. All
right, so let's look at the screen again and see where
Yep. So if we go from 51 people, and then let's say we wanted to go up to small to medium-sized corporates as well. So I ticked these options under company size. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the search button now and just see how many records come up. And you'll see that there's 19,731 businesses which come under the computer and network security industry sectors. We've managed to get it in at director, owner, CXO, VP and partner level, and the company size is there. Now, LinkedIn, although it says there's 19,731 businesses there, what we are doing, we haven't narrowed it down yet a little bit more. I'd also recommend narrowing it down by territory. So let's, for example, take location, okay? And let's say we want to bring up businesses, we'll just select United Kingdom here as a case in point, but this could be pretty well most countries in the world. So go to United Kingdom.
Up a bit.
Okay.
There you go.
Here we go. And then let's can we take your postcode here?
The postcode here, TW151UU.
TW151UU. And let's say bring up businesses within a 100-mile radius, okay? So that we're starting to use some really powerful features within LinkedIn now. That's narrowed it down to 751. Which is now suddenly a much more manageable number. You can also do keyword searches as well. I won't do that now, but you can be quite specific with your keyword searches. So, for example, if you wanted to reach business analysts, you could just search for business analysts and the keyword search or under job title, and that would narrow it down even more. So you've got your 751, and what you can then do is you can then actually save that search. So you notice an option there, Save Search. Just give that search a name, and then you can return that at any point. So those are potential directors of companies which are great people to connect with.
Now, the trouble that you have at that particular stage is that when you've now got their list, and of course LinkedIn tries to protect people from being spammed because all of a sudden. So what's the next step on? What do you do? Do you go off LinkedIn and see if you can find more information on the particular person or the individuals, or do you use InMail, which is the inbuilt part that you have in Premium? So what's the right etiquette on this? Because what we don't want to be doing is encouraging people to start spamming everybody. I mean, that's a powerful feature. We've narrowed it down. What's the right protocol? Okay,
that's a great question actually. What we'll do is we'll just take this first person at the top of this list. Say if you go to Craig Marston, for example.
He's the first of yours, I see already.
Yeah, okay, so he's a first level connection. Again, you can see his profile information down here, which is absolutely great. If you click on contact info here, you can see his email address. and also his company website, and he may well have a company page as well. So you got some very useful information there. Now,
Now, he's a first of yours, though, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So is that available even if he's not a first?
No, things like email addresses you don't get, and certain other information if you're not a first level connection. And actually only about 15% of LinkedIn profiles have an email address on there. So in real terms, you'd actually have to do some other research if you wanted to do that.
And are there resources that you would recommend or you would use?
Well, there's you could do a simple Google search, and you can also search to see whether they've been mentioned in any blogs anywhere, for example. You may find they're interacting in groups as well. And so those could be really good methods. There's also a tool which LinkedIn bought. They bought a company called Rupert a while ago, and what's really useful is if you know their email, if you can find them on LinkedIn, Reporter can be very good to help you to validate email addresses.
Is that the one that actually takes an educated guess of what the email may be?
Well, it actually reports only positives.
All right.
Okay, so if you've got the right email address, it will, and they're on LinkedIn, it will confirm that it's the correct email address. There are online email permutators, but again, you have to be very careful. If you start to try and bulk mail people, then there is a risk if you do things the wrong way, you could get your domain blacklisted. So you clearly don't want that. And you raised a great question about InMail. That's only available to premium members of LinkedIn, and I believe that starts about, say, if you pay about £50 or £60 a month, you get 25 InMails per month for that, which actually isn't very much. But that is a good way of connecting people who are not already in your network. If they are a first level connection, of course you can just message people, but being respectful of how you need to engage with them. You can, of course, if you've met them through networking as well or know through other means, send a personal connection request. But I'd always recommend personalising that message. Never accept the LinkedIn default, because otherwise people may not remember you, but you may actually remember them for all sorts of reasons. So there's, again, a correct etiquette in terms of doing that.
All right, so we're now beginning to build up our network, effectively what we're talking about here then. So we've now made the connection, we've narrowed it down, it's within the workable distance that we're looking at, and we're using InMail, or at least one way of InMail, to contact them. The etiquette of actually contacting and talking to people on email, we discussed this before we started the program. If somebody does connect with you, is that the same as somebody at a networking event going, there you go, there's my business card? Because I would feel that if you give me your business card, then you are accepting the fact that I'm going to contact you.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting point, because, for example, in the UK, if you're communicating with businesses, limited companies, the rules for data protection are much more relaxed over here. In the US, you have to comply with ICANN compliance regulations, and actually someone actually has to have opted in. So we're slightly more relaxed in the UK than we are in the US, interesting enough. But actually forgetting about the legal
This is the double opt-in, isn't it, where a lot of the American autoresponders pretty much insist that you do double opt-in.
Yeah. So
somebody opts in and then they send an email and then they opt in from the email. So it can't be spammed.
Yeah, well that's right. But again, if you go back to this thing, if you just remember you're communicating one person to another and are respectful about people, if you were to connect with a few people you don't know particularly well, providing you're respectful of that, you're unlikely to get any problems unless you just keep on connecting en masse with loads and loads of people. So you've got your target list of your 730 businesses. In a sense, that's part of your prospect list, which you can then start to engage with those people through LinkedIn or through other social media platforms, or by personal email potentially. Mm-hmm. The great thing is you've got a very highly targeted list without it. The data in LinkedIn, people tend to keep their profiles up to date, which is important.
The protocol when it comes to contacting people, taking their information off LinkedIn. LinkedIn itself actually is quite clear when it comes to the rules of using LinkedIn and the information there contained. What are the ethics that are behind it? Is it the right thing to do? At what point do you take the information off LinkedIn and start having it in your own separate database?
Again, LinkedIn are fairly relaxed about it, and they have to be in many ways, because if you're not logged into LinkedIn, you were to search for this gentleman here, Craig Marston, or you were to search for myself, for example, you would find them all over Google. So, and you'll find that even if you're not linked into Google, you'll still be able to get access to those public profiles. And because it's publicly available information, there's nothing wrong with using that.
So it's perceived as being in the public domain now?
Yeah, certainly if you can get that information without being logged into LinkedIn, that's publicly available information. There's no reason why you shouldn't really be able to use that. And obviously I'm not a lawyer, but common sense
We've
applies.
got one of those. But yes.
Exactly.
All right, so that's an individual then. So we mentioned groups earlier on, how you get... Now, the rules on groups have changed recently. At one stage, you could post to an entire group. It was nearly like a backdoor way in to getting contacts with people. That has changed recently. What's changed with groups?
Was a great point on groups. I must admit, I personally don't particularly use groups very much. I used to, but LinkedIn has started to restrict a lot more what you can do with groups. I had a case of someone last week, not one of our clients, but actually they had a restriction applied to their account, and all they were trying to do was share value through a group. They weren't trying to spam anyone. And worse still, LinkedIn actually didn't say which person or which group had raised the issue, and that he was a member of 30 or 40 groups. So I personally don't use groups very much, but they can be a very good way of finding people who are interested in engaging in your areas of interest or expertise.
All right. So, well, listen, save the thought. I mean, the show is flying by, and the trouble with LinkedIn is it is such a huge topic. But already we've given you a bit of an indication. It's all about profiles. It's all about engaging with the person that you're going to be talking about. We've shown you a quick way on how you can actually narrow down niche search effectively, so you can go right down. Listen, my guest on today's show is Rupert Honeywood, Managing Director of Integrated Marketing Bureau. You're watching Business Connections Live. We've got more about LinkedIn in just a few moments.